time.
Hello and welcome to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson, here with Dean Greenberg, president of Greenberg Financial Group. Dean, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you again, Sarah.
Always great to see you. You always bring a smile to my face.
No, you tell me that every week. I appreciate that.
And I mean it every week. Let's get right into it, Dean. I want to talk about the importance of a financial plan. Why is it so important for people to make a plan? And when we say plan, we're not talking about stack of papers, statements from your financial advisor or whomever. This is an actual financial plan that's going to take you through retirement.
It's even more than that. It's pretty interesting now, financial planning. 69% of people feel like they should have a financial plan. You know how many people who actually have one? 29%. So this whole idea of financial planning has really taken off. I believe it's because the software has changed, because it used to be the software was mostly the people doing, quote, the financial planning, was estate planning, was insurance people to sell insurance. And now it's actually financial advisors, and that's probably the good move where people become fiduciaries that are actually working for the best interest of the clients. What we hear most from our clients, actually prospects of doing the financial plan first before they become clients, is that they love the fact that it's forcing them to put everything together, gather all their information, and then have it in one place.
What do you think is creating that gap between those that are doing and those that want to do? Those that want the plan?
The ones that are afraid to do it, it's exactly that. They're afraid to do it because they don't think they have enough money. They don't understand it. People talk above them, and then they don't want to know that they don't have enough money to retire.
There is a sort of intimidation factor, don't you think, where you're sitting at home and you're listening to this conversation and you're thinking, I don't know if I have enough, I'm not sure if I'm organized, I don't know if I'm ready for this step. And it's so important to reiterate that everybody needs a financial plan.
You know, you do, but a lot of people, it's like, I never had a financial plan. I'm always like, who's going to tell me better than where my money is when it is? But it gathers everything together for me. You know what I mean? And it's also nice that you have everything together, because everyone thinks their estate plan and stuff puts it all together. If you can find it, yeah, but there's a lot of other things in it. The financial plan will list everything along with your tax returns and all that stuff. So if something happens, it's all right there.
Well, I think also, the world has changed a lot in the last few years. And with that change, I think we've all had a lot of personal, emotional, medical, financial changes. And our plan needs to reflect those changes.
Inflation, I think, has been the thing that has forced people to go and get a plan. Because with interest rates when they were 1%, 2%, it was very simple for people to pay for things and save some money. Now they're not. And they're very concerned as they're coming in to their retirement ages or actually retired if they have enough money. And we put them at rest because what they don't realize is before their safe money was earning 1%. 0.5% in the money market, 2% in the CD. Now you can get 5% in government bonds, MIGAs, annuities. Things are paying so much more because interest rates are up, and people have to take advantage of it. Now, who it hurts are the people that are already that were in long-term bonds and interest rates came down and they lost, but they can do a swap out and get tax and save on taxes. And everyone thinks a plan is just telling you how to do it. A plan actually makes sure that you're insured correctly. It makes sure that you're putting enough money away, or if you are retired, you won't run out of money. It also helps you with your estate planning. Where's everything going? We just brought on an estate planner about 3-4 months ago who works in our office, who helps us with questions and things for our clients. And obviously, if people need to see him, first time they see him too, it's a free consultation, because they have to get checked up with it. I mean, I went back and looked at, some of my estate planning, because I didn't look at it for like 10 years. I had things in there that I didn't even remember, and obviously it was back when my kids were under 17 years old, so I was trying to, where they would go and who would take care of them and how would everything get broken up. But now they're 30 years old and, I don't have to worry about that. So my whole plan is different.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you're talking about over a big scope of time, but even in the last couple of years, right? People have experienced so much change. I can't even tell you who my beneficiary was is probably not going to be the same person that it should be now.
Right, and we have a great financial planning and retirement income analyzer that shows you this is how much you have, this is how much you take it out. At this rate of return, this is how long your money will last.
So what's the perfect time of life to start?
As soon as you can.
Now.
I mean, we get people in their 20s. I said, I don't care, put $100 away, you know? But, you're getting into your late 20s, early 30s, and you're having kids, and it's impossible to save money. You have to do something.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Whether it's through a whole life insurance policy, so you have something when you retire, whether it's through an annuity, whether it's through just savings. The biggest problem people have, I have an education, I'm going to put this away. Then they take the money out for something else. And I say, that's fine as long as it's for an investment that can grow, an appreciating asset. Like if you've built up some money and you want to buy a house and you have to take your money, that's great. But if you're taking your money out to pay for credit cards or to go on a trip, that's not great.
Most people would prefer to talk about their vacation than their financial planning, but this is something that we can do that is completely complimentary. This is a gift that we're giving to the viewers of the show for taking the time to sit and chat with us and learn and grow with us. And it is just a complimentary analysis to tell you whether you're on the right road. So whether you have a financial advisor or you don't, find out if you're on the right path, and if you're not, let's get there.
Yeah, and one of the things we do is we make sure they get the plan. It's not like, okay, here's a financial plan, it's free, but if you don't do business with us, we're not going to give it to you. We give it to them. We email it to them, but it's a 3-4 stage process. We got to talk to them. We got to get to know them. We go through a whole risk analysis of where they are, where the mind is, what their needs are. Then we do the whole financial plan from insurance all the way to estate planning. And then we sit down with them for an hour or two and go over everything with them. And then we put together a proposal, and then we go over the proposal. Then we have to enact the proposal. The biggest difference that we do, we don't then just give it off to somebody else once we do the plan. We're still responsible all the way through. We manage the money. We actually allocate it, manage it, and review it constantly.
And I think that there are a lot more things that make you unique and different. I want to talk about that after commercial break. That phone number is 520-544-4909, or you can scan that QR code and get right to us, and we'll be right back.
This is Money Matters with Dean Greenberg of the Greenberg Financial Group. I'm Spike Spangle. Dean, what really got you started in this industry?
It was because I was working for Ford Motor Company. I had audit all the dealerships, and I kind of looked at things and I said, this is not what I want. So I went back and got my MBA in finance and investments and said, I'm going to work on Wall Street. I didn't really know the journey I was going to have until later on, 1987, when the market crashed.
Yeah. Black Monday.
Black Monday. The only person in the company of 600 and some odd brokers. I was buying IBM, and I opened a $500,000 account. So they say to me, hey, this is unbelievable. How did you do this? What did you do? I just said, because I thought it was the right thing to do. Down 20%, it was probably a good time to buy, and I was more of a technician and an advisor and an educator at that time. Long story short, they tell me a week later I never owned the stock. The back offices back then could not handle 1 billion shares a day. So a week and a half later, they tell me I don't own it, and I needed to call the client to tell them they didn't own the stock. And I told them that they should pay the client. Next day I came in, my box of stuff was in there, and they told me I was fired. And I went to go see the guy I knew to go get a job. And he said, Dean, I'd hire you tomorrow, but you need to start your own business. I laughed at him and said, how am I going to start my own business? I only have $5,000. He said, figure it out. We're all salesmen. You educate. You care about the markets. You care about your clients. So I guess I figured it out.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg, president of Greenberg Financial Group. And Dean, before break, we were talking about really what makes you different, because I think anyone can watch for 30 seconds to the show and realize that you are not the typical financial advisor. You are definitely a more well-rounded individual, and you make things a lot less intimidating than I think a lot of other people do. What brought you into this, and what do you think makes you different?
Well, it's interesting you say that I make things a little bit more comfortable. I learned almost 35 years ago when I started doing a radio show on Sunday mornings, okay, that somebody told me, when you're talking to an audience, talk to them like they're in elementary school, because you will simplify everything enough that people will understand it. If they understand it, then they will trust you. If they don't understand it, then they could respect you, but they're always got a little bit of uncomfortability because they don't know what you're talking about. And I never want someone not to know what we're talking about. So I tell everyone in my office, make sure we simplify everything and read the person, read them. If they're not getting it, slow down and talk to them. And one of the things that have happened is that they've gotten to hear me for a long time on the radio and now doing TV, that I am who I am. I'm the same person here as I am there. We care about our clients. I don't know if it's a New York thing. I don't know if it's my mom. I don't know. I just know, you know, I'm probably a codependent and I care too much about people that need help.
I think it's a little bit of all of those things, but you are definitely not typical in any sense of the word. I think it's important to take that intimidation factor off the table because, like we were talking about earlier, really, it's not that you have X amount of dollars is why you need the plan. It's just to give you that peace of mind to be able to move forward knowing you can live the life and have the retirement of your dreams with the proper planning. And even like you said, starting in your 20s, I'm kind of concerned about, you know, that younger generation, or is it Gen X? I lose track of who the generations are anymore. But, you know, my kids, I see how differently they're growing up, and to get them a sense of what their money is going to be worth and how hard it is to really get that savings. Starting young is a good thing.
It is. And I've told my clients, too, that if they have money and they plan on giving it to the kids, do it while you're alive. Help them with a Roth IRA. Help them with an IRA. If they're not putting all their retirement money away, help them while you're alive to do that. Also, if they don't have enough for a down payment because houses have gone through the roof, help them with the down payment. I mean, you don't have to give them 20%. Make them responsible too. But, you know, give them enough money that they can feel comfortable and be able to pay it, because, you know, as a parent, you're probably not, if you have it, you're not going to let your child go upside down in the house. You'd pay the mortgage until they're able to sell it. Okay.
Well, it really has gotten to the point with real estate now that, you know, young families, people just starting out, it's almost cost prohibitive. I mean, interest rates are so high. The prices of homes have skyrocketed. It's hard to imagine how these kids are going to get their toe in the water.
In the last 6 months, both my boys left the house. It was one of those things. They came back. No, they were always out. They came back because of the pandemic. And then my other son was building a house. And then the place he was in went out, Dylan. And so they came back. It was pretty cool. For 6 months, we had everyone there and our grandchild. Then Dylan left out. He got a house. And then my other son, Matthew, who's married with a child, they moved out and got a house. But what's interesting is these houses they had to pay up from a few years ago. $150,000 more than where they were, okay? But this is what I told them. I said, I have no idea what the real estate market is, but what you need to assume right now is that you're paying the highest price you're going to pay for the next 5 or 10 years, in that ballpark. So if you're getting into this house, make sure you understand, you're not getting in it to make money over time. You're getting into it because this is where you need to live and be able to start growing and building a family and doing those things. And I said, when interest rates come down, it will benefit you and you can refinance then. And that's where you'll save the money. And then you pay it off. And at the end of the day, you don't know where things are going to be. But you think about it, 2008, it wasn't until a couple years ago that people that bought things in 2007, especially condos, were able to get their money out and make some money. So it took them 12, 15 years.
Because I think we all look at our homes as our, you know, one of our biggest, obviously, investments. Yep. And it's hard not to swallow to say, you're going to buy this, you're probably not going to make money on it. But like you said, when we can refinance, that is a great vehicle to be able to start to save.
Right. And if you wait, I mean, the problem we have right now, there's not a lot of new buildings, okay? So if you wait for the house to come down, well, the problem you have for interest rates to come down and stuff, the house might go up because interest rates come down. Now people can come out of their low mortgages and buy another house, and all the prices are going to go up. If you don't have new building, and you don't have inventory.
Inventory is at an all-time low in real estate.
It's supply and demand. That's why we had inflation. We didn't have the supply, and the demand was there. And our government just won't get their hands around the fact that you need more supply of stuff. And I know the Fed's trying to stop inflation by choking it off, but they needed to do things way before that. And our Congress needs to get involved. It can't just be the Fed. They only have one tool: raise rates.
It's kind of a mess, but this is why we're saying this. You don't want to wait, okay? This is the time when the sun is shining to get in and take a look and see where you're at so that you can get that financial plan in place and know that when inflation hits, and as it does and as we know it is, that you have enough money and you'll be prepared.
And inflation's a problem, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And even if it's at 3%, it's a lot higher than where it was than zero. So you have to account for it now, where for the last 10 years or so, we didn't have to account for it.
Well, and as Americans, I know we're not accustomed to having to think about the cost of our milk and our eggs and our bread, and all of a sudden we've become very conscious of, wow, this...
The people that are investing weren't.
Correct.
Other people are. We can't forget there's a lot of Americans that are worried. I mean, 10 cents means something to them. Well, maybe $10.
Absolutely, but now it's becoming to where we're all taking notice. Because,
Everybody.
Yeah, we're all taking notice.
I mean, I never look at the grocery bills. Now it's like, are you kidding me? Wasn't this $150? How is it $400 now?
Have you seen the cost of a prime rib at Costco? You want to buy a steak, it's twice the cost.
I'm just glad I don't like steak that much anymore. I used to love it. I could have eaten it 5
so
days a
much
week.
money.
My system, as I gotten older, said, stop eating so much steak. Okay.
So you're saving all this money. What can I say?
Chicken.
Look, the point is that whether or not you have visited this with another financial advisor, if you have never had these types of conversations and you're looking, especially if you're in the retirement, red zone and within 10 years of wanting to retire, now is the time to get a real grasp on where you're at so you can create that financial plan to give you the peace of mind to be able to move forward and live your best retirement.
Relieve your stress. Relieve the stress. Understand, when you see it in pictorial form, that you're not going to run out of money, you're happy.
Sounds good to me. And this is actually something that a lot of other advisors charge thousands of dollars for. We're doing this with Greenberg Financial Group. You can get a complimentary analysis that is yours to keep so that if you're on the right path and you want to stay there, great. If you're not, then we would love to work with you. That phone number is 520-544-4909, or scan the little QR code on the bottom of your screen and it'll take you right to us, and we'll take a quick commercial break.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you.
As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Dean Greenberg, president of Greenberg Financial Group. Dean, before break, we were talking about how some advisors charge $2,000, $3,000 for this, financial analysis, and you're giving it away complimentary. Why do you do that?
Well, it's funny you say that because, I've talked to guys about maybe coming and work with us and stuff, and they said, and I said the one thing is that we give away complimentary, free, whatever you want to call it, financial plans, and actually give them the plan. He goes, well, that's crazy. You should never do that. He says, and I've done this all around the country for years and years and years. And I said, okay. I said, but that's not my style. I said, people want to charge that because they want to actually put themselves on a pedestal and they want to think that they're worth more, okay? I know I'm worth more, but I want people to know what I'm doing, and I'm okay helping out people without going ahead and charging them the $2,000, $3,000, because I do know what we do in our process and the way we do it is unique, as you said before, and we can take care of the client, and our proposals are there, and the fact that we will go through it and manage the money and mitigate risk and be able to change portfolios, that is unbelievably great for people, where they can come to us and talk to us and say, hey, I'm a little scared of this or that. What can we do to tweak this? All right? And we've had that. We've had clients just so afraid they wanted to go to cash and then come talk to us. And not only that, they came in with some more money to give to us, because now they started talking about all the things that were really on their mind. You know, and they got into the guaranteed income with the annuities and government bonds and stuff like that. But that's all they wanted. They were afraid of, and they had government bonds, but they were afraid of the markets falling down. And then you had to show them the percentages, and then you had to show them, okay, say the market goes down 50%. You're going to earn this much on the income. You're going to lose this much on the investments. You're only down 5 or 7% then. Oh, I can handle that, they said. Yeah, of course you can.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for the rest of the market is doing this, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is always happy when they're making money, and nobody wants to lose a dime. But when other people are losing 15, 20%, and you're only losing 3%,
Right.
you know, you're hedging the bets.
Well, that's what, you know, part of the plan is showing them. We go through every analysis we do. We go through, and what was the worst era ever? 2000 to 2010, right? That 10 years. So everyone goes, well, it averages this and that. Well, it didn't average that then, okay? So every time we backtest or show them what their portfolio would do, we actually show them those 10 years too of what would happen with their portfolio they would have and what we would propose to change, and this is what would have happened during that period of time. We don't use fake numbers. We use real numbers to show them from now on, because we don't know if the next 10 years are going to be like the first decade, or is it going to be the second decade, all right? I mean, I got to believe we're coming down first, you know, but who knows? You know, and so you mitigate risk, you help out, you protect, you relieve stress, and then you take the responsibility. If we're fiduciaries, why are we sending it to somebody else?
Talk to me about that. What if somebody who doesn't know what a fiduciary is?
Fiduciary is a label that they have now overblown, saying basically that the client comes first. In 1988, when I started my firm, I sat on the client side and wrote down everything that I wanted as a client to start my firm. And I wanted to manage money for a fee. No one did it back then. Money managers were doing it, but not advisors, not brokers, the other people. And that's how we built it up. The client always comes first. I tell everyone in my office, you have a decision? This is the decision for you, a decision for the client. You're doing what the client best for the client. So now they regulated to make sure that people do that.
Versus what? Versus other advisors who have to sell you certain products or
Right.
services.
But, you know, you know, the broker-dealer side now with Reg B, AI, or whatever it's called, there's a lot of regulations to make people try to do the right thing. And I know there's a lot of bad people in here, in our business. There were, all right? The Madoffs of the world and stuff like that. They've cracked down on that, which is good, but it's cost small firms like us so much regulation. I mean, our audit used to be like 10 or 12 grand. It's almost $50,000 now.
Wow.
I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, so they aim in, the small guy has to work so much harder to just be able to be in the same position as the big firms without the power.
You know, one thing that I do feel like makes you very different is that you have this great family dynamic in your office. Your son works for you. You've got this amazing team of people behind you. So it's not just Dean. It's like kind of a one-stop shop.
The team is not behind me. We're one team.
One team.
As you know, I coached lacrosse and football for 20-some-odd years. I'm a coach. I'm a team guy. And I think I finally found the right team, all right? You know, you go through things, and when players aren't right, they move around, or they're disgruntled, and they go on. They trade to another team or whatever. At the end of the day, I think right now I got some of the smartest young guys that I know in the business, and they've come fast. You know, because when you're working for a small firm, you come quick, and they are great at technology. They do the financial plan. They're great with clients, but we all work together. We invest together, we talk together, we all know what's going on in every guy's portfolio that we have. And the beauty of that is if a client calls and someone's not there, and I even answer the phone, 90% of the questions I can help and answer. And that team approach, we all talk about what's good. We look at models. I'm not a micromanager. I'm more of a macro guy, big picture guy. So I love when the young guys give me input and ideas. I mean, there's my succession plan. You know, one of the things I did realize, that's why I went younger, is that once you start getting older, people start looking, well, who's going to be there, you know, when you want to retire? Well, I'm not retiring, but when I'm not there, okay, or something happens and my brain goes or whatever, they want to know there's someone that's going to outlive them, you know, and that's important to them. And they want to know that's been taught by people that have actually been in the business a long time.
I think also the benefit of having, you know, Dylan on board too, he's young, he gets the pulse of kind of their generation. He can speak their language to them a little more. Because like you said before, sometimes you're talking to someone that age and it just seems, oh, that's so far away. It's so, you know, over their head. But it's never
Dylan
too early.
Todd is another one. What's great about Todd Glick, he's come on board. He saw an opportunity, he seized it, and he ran with it. But what's interesting about Todd is I coached him for 4 years, all right? I did not know this until he showed it to me a few months ago, that his last night, you know, the last night of the game, and you talk, and it's senior night. On camera, I said, this is the one kid I know will come work for me one day. And I totally forgot. He's the only kid that I've ever coached that came work for me.
Well, I think your coaching comes through also in your education. You have your radio shows, obviously your television shows. This is not part of our formalized education, and it really should be. And so many people have a lot of questions, and so why this is such a great format in getting people informed in an area that they're not getting educated in on otherwise. So this is totally complimentary and a great way to learn, if nothing else, just to get an education. So thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to sit with us today. Again, that number is 520-544-4909, or we have our nifty QR code that'll take you right to us. And thank you again for joining us on your road to retirement. We hope to see you soon.